and welcome back to Bookish Theories. In today's video, we'd like to talk about ATEEZ's concept teasers, focusing on a little breakdown and analysis of the videos to see what they can tell us about the upcoming comeback. Now, with the release of Zero Fever Part 2 around the corner, ATEEZ have been releasing a lot of promotional material filled with clues that could foreshadow the next chapter of their storyline. Now, even if so far there is still a lot of things that we don't know about this comeback, one thing that we know for sure about it is that the title track will actually be called Fireworks. And this is an information that was released in one of their latest photos, but that was also foreshadowed in the second concept teaser as well. If in the video the word Fireworks was written on both Yuno's hand and Seungwa's neck, the name of the title track was also spelled on Sun's back in the form of a Morse code. So judging from these clues alone, it's already evident that these videos are telling us a lot more than what it seems. You see, if we take a look at the two teasers back to back, the first thing that is apparent is that this comeback will somehow involve the theme of duality. If in the first teaser the boys are shown in the daylight and in a dreamy landscape that recalls the setting of Illusion, the second teaser reveals the boys taking shelter in the desert using a torch to brighten the darkness that surrounds them. Now, right off the bat, this contrast is very interesting because if we consider the first photos that were released, these two locations are actually one and the same. If the very first picture showed us a tree in the clouds and in full bloom, a week later the same picture revealed a burning tree in the desert hidden behind what looks like a paper curtain. So if we look at these visuals in the context of the storyline, we can say that the first picture shows us the illusion of the dream, while the second one actually reveals the reality behind it. Bear in mind, if we consider all the events that took place in the past comeback as well as in the epilogues of Fever Road, at this point the boys have reunited and left for the journey that they were dreaming about back in Illusion. Much like I said in my past video, the game told us that the hourglass is able to move dimensions when the full moon rises, and at the end of the show the moon did rise, thus implying that by the end of Fever Road the boys actually left for their quest. Now, this idea is also reinforced in the second teaser, because in the narration we are told that the boys did in fact cross the border of the horizon, but as I mentioned earlier, this journey is much scarier than what they expected, because the darkness actually ends up stopping them as soon as they reach their destination. If back in Illusion their dream was bright, colorful and happy, the reality of this dream is both dark and hopeless, and this is because people stopped raising their heads to look for the stars. Since people stopped looking for the light, the new world that the boys were longing for is now covered by the darkness, and even if at first this darkness seems to overcome them, people also hope that the fire that the boys have inside of them might actually consume it once and for all. Now, this is where Fireworks comes into play, because according to what the narration tells us, ATEEZ will come to the rescue to break the silence and awaken the world. Judging by the information that we have until now, Fireworks might actually be a pun to literally tell us that their fire works, that their passion will bring light back into their dream, and that their voices will remind people to look at the stars when they need them. And this idea might actually have been foreshadowed all the way back in Say My Name, which incidentally is also a song that was also referenced in one of their concept photos. Much like the teaser, Say My Name told us that at the beginning of their journey, ATEEZ came because people called for them, that they responded to this call, and that they wanted to run towards the flame in the dark moon. But despite all these similarities, the most important clue that we can find in Say My Name is actually the origin of the fire that ATEEZ will use to awaken the world. You see, Say My Name here actually marks the official introduction of Dark ATEEZ, which is another version of ATEEZ belonging to another dimension that often interact with the boys using dreams as a medium of communication. Now, if you watch my videos in the past, then you know that this detail is very important, because in the storyline, Dark ATEEZ are often associated to fire. Whenever they showed up in the story, the songs always describe the boys experiencing extreme heat, high fever, and an intense fire that they struggle to control. And even if in the past this fire could have been perceived as something dangerous that ATEEZ needed to keep in check, now we know that this fire is actually a force that the boys need in order to complete their quest. You see, whether we want to see Dark ATEEZ as a parallel version of them or as a side of them that comes to the surface when they need them, one thing that we know for sure about it is that their presence is an essential aspect of the story. They might represent the boys' ambition to pursue their treasure, the passion that consumes them, or even the driving force that allows them to achieve their dreams. But whether it's one, the other, or all of these things put together, over time, dark ATEEZ have actually proven to be extremely helpful in the boys' journey towards their goals. If in the diary film it was Dark Honjun the one who provided the hourglass that Honjun needed to reunite the group, back in Answer we saw the boys coming to terms with the other version of them and actually welcoming the fire that their presence awakened. And this idea was also reinforced by their latest performance at Unicorn, where Sun and the Dark Sun actually produced a burning fire where they cheered to their unity. All of these clues here heavily suggest that fireworks not only will show that this unity is still strong, but also that the boys will need it in order to defeat the darkness that surrounds them. Since a firework is something loud, explosive, and colorful, the boys will need all the fire that they can get to break the silence and awaken the world. But to know how this will play out, we'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please think about liking and subscribing. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye!